We will turn to Ajamu Baraka. He's the former Green Party vice presidential candidate, and he's also the national organizer for the Black Alliance for Peace. Now, Ajamu, this is shocking news this morning. President Moïse shot dead in his home amid months of unrest in Haiti. Where does this leave Haiti's future?
Well, it leaves it up in the air to a certain extent, but it's important to point out that you can't understand anything in Haiti in abstraction. The situation in Haiti could have been stabilized if the U.S. administration under Joe Biden would have given its support to a democratic transition. But that didn't happen. In fact, they gave the support to Moïse to continue to be in office, even in opposition to the majority of the Haitian people. So we have a tragic situation in the country, but one that cannot, again, be understood completely without bringing into the conversation the role of the U.S.
Now, I'm having a hard time grappling with this concept. How did these armed men get into his home in the first place? Where was his security detail? How can something like this happen?
Well, that's a very good question, and including all of the other information that we're receiving about people with different accents is really going to be very interesting to see what unfolds as the details begin to emerge. But it's important to keep in mind that whatever happens in that country has to happen as a consequence of the direct activity and interventions by Haitians themselves. We at the Black Alliance for Peace, we are very much concerned about the possibility of the conditions being set to allow for another foreign intervention into the country in order to, quote unquote, provide stability. We would be opposed to that vigorously.
Now, on that note, his tenure as president was obviously in question the last few months. Some say he was illegitimately holding on to power and office. We didn't hear much political outcry from the West like we did and currently do about Venezuela regarding similar situations there. Haiti is a former French colony. Haiti did not even have their first democratic elections until 1990. Emmanuel Macron has yet to release a statement. Why have the French been so mum about all of this for the past several months, and now after President Moïse's assassination?
Well, the French have played a very nefarious role in Haitian politics for quite some time. And so they have not just been mum, they have been actively involved with the U.S. and the other so-called core groups in trying to manipulate the political events on that island. So we won't hear much from Macron, except whatever the U.S. says he will probably echo. This has been a long story of U.S. and European intervention and control of that very strategic space in the Caribbean. So the French, the U.S., the Canadians, all of them have an interest in maintaining instability in that island and in that part of the world.
And lastly, the interim, he just resigned yesterday, apparently, the interim Prime Minister, Claude Joseph, he's the one that made the official announcement. He also said that the gunman allegedly spoke Spanish, but did not elaborate on that claim. So where might this clue point us, and why in that direction?
Well, that's a very interesting question and set of circumstances. It's not really clear yet. We do know that the Haitian government has been in contact with and supported by various countries in Latin America that have been allies and are allies of the U.S. We know that there's been mercenary activities in which elements have been hired from parts of Latin America. So it remains to be seen what this clue might lead us to. But what we do know is that whatever happens in that country, we want to make sure that it is Haitians themselves that take the responsibility to clean up that mess created for them by foreign intervention on the part of the U.S., the French, and all of the other European countries for the last almost 200 years.
Absolutely. Very important to underscore that they are a sovereign nation. I think people think of the Caribbean as, one monolith, and that it's, the subset the U.S., but it is not. It is a sovereign nation. They have a lot of things to figure out on their own. Ajamu Baraka, always appreciate your insights on all this breaking news. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.